Jadi sekarang Glazers still, kita buat macam mana pun, you cakap dengan I macam mana pun, yang bercakap dengan I Glazer, I takkan suka punya. Sebab you kena keluar daripada club. Itu saja.
So
Glazer
walaupun
out.
Salam satu Malaysia. Welcome to JomUnited. We are a Manchester United fan club channel. Okay, PSA, public service announcement. We do not encourage drinking and starting football leagues. Okay, taken from the Heineken slogan. That was freaking awesome, man. Okay, so guys, I see everybody back in their United kit. Okay, mine is something printed by my friend, United kit. Everyone has their United kit on. Oh, happy days, happy days.
Never left, sir.
Okay, let's start off with Doc. So how are you feeling today, Doc? Mr. Doctor of Positiveness.
Hey, I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good. I think, like I mentioned, we just had to wait, and we didn't have to wait long. Everything fell apart in like less than 2 days. So feeling fantastic. I think we were all awake, following the news like minute by minute on the day. Everything fell apart. So feeling good.
So Syed, what's your opinion on the fans, the football being united against this super league?
Yeah, I mean, I'm so happy to see like all fans stay together, regardless our rivals. Like United fans talking good about Leeds United fans, we are talking good about Liverpool fans. I mean, I cannot imagine appreciating Liverpool and Leeds, but for this case, we all united and we all speak together to save football. So that was a good gesture, like from all different community, from all different fans. Even like Gary Neville and Jamie Carragher, they are rivals, Scouser, but like for this agenda, they are together and they speak the same language because everybody loves football and everyone wants to save the football. So yeah, it was a good gesture.
Okay, I'm gonna.
Gary Neville is the man.
Yeah, he's the man, man. He's the man. Okay, I'm going to give an opportunity to Josh to justify his $400 jersey. So, what's your opinion on our players, United players, being vocal about this against this movement?
Oh, first I have to give a big shout out for Mr. Harry Maguire for stepping as a captain off the pitch.
He finally
I
stood
think
up.
off the pitch lah. That was I think next time instead of right centre back, he should play right outside centre back.
Ball picker can.
For the guy, I tell you, I don't know lah. I mean, with all the media saying that he stepped up along with Luke Shaw and Bruno being like the the spokesperson for the club. I think with facing up Ed Woodward, I think kudos to them lah. I think for, of course, being English as well, they know how deep down, how rooted are they with English football. So I think, kudos to them, man. Now my 400 jersey now become 450 ringgit already. I just want to...
Maybe more than that lah. Maybe more than that lah.
Yeah. So yeah, good job lah, these guys, and not only for the United team lah. I think everyone in the others team as well. I think that like Rio Ferdinand came in, Roy Keane also came in with all those legend players. I think they really spoke up to know what is right and they did the right thing.
Okay, Jai, dalam bila kita tengah discuss ini ESL semua, you yang paling relax I rasa. So you actually cakap relax, ini drama saja. So pada pendapat you kan, apa situasi ini sekarang? Adakah drama ini akan berterusan?
Kalau I rasa memang still lagi ada drama yang akan dia macam ada setiap cerita mesti ada plot twist. So even macam mana you just wait, kita just tunggu dan lihat dan tengok adakah plot twist tu ke arah kebaikan kepada peminat ataupun ke arah kebaikan kepada kelab. Lebih lah maksud dia. But secara jujur dia memang akan ada plot twist. Sebab setiap kali drama mesti ada plot twist. So I still anggap benda ni still drama dan mesti ada plot twist dia. Kita just tunggu dan lihat.
Tapi plot twist untuk saya, I fikir plot twist yang Woodward kena tendang tu dah kira dah baik dah.
So, itu sebahagian daripada plot twist. Tapi I tak tahu, mungkin dia cerita Woodward ni pun ada plot twist jugalah. Tapi secara jujur pada saya cakap dengan secara jujurnya mesti ada drama, mesti ada plot twist dia.
Ini
Still
lagi kompleks daripada cerita Hindustan ni. Hindustan kalah.
Ya, lagi kompleks. Ya,
Okay.
betul.
Speaking about Woodward, at Woodward, we got our at Woodward number one fan is here. When we were going through our auditioning process of thousands of people for United, right? We spot one, the biggest at Woodward fan. Okay, Mr. Colin Smurf, please
Yo, bro.
share your opinion.
No. I'm a biggest fan for him to get out. And to me, it's a success. Whatever Perez did, or I mean the ESL and all. It was totally horrible for football. Okay, at first, but somehow it benefited United in the sense that we got Woodward out. We got him out of the door for good. Come end of this, not this season. I think Said was mentioning earlier. It was end of this year. We will just kiss him goodbye. Adios, bye bye. We don't need him. We don't need any. We don't need him to basically pay over the odds for substandard players. All right. No more panic buyings. Okay, not last minute panic buyings, and basically players will just be on the bench. Players that will not actually help the team to progress. So goodbye Woodward, and that's it. I rest my case with Woodward, and my next will be Glazers after this.
Okay, since that you brought up the Glazers, just add on, right? Okay, since that now the Kayu is gone already, but the Akka, the roots are still there. So what do you think that subsequently the Glazers, right? You think what are they going to do after this? You got any opinions on what they're going to do?
In my point of view, I mean, there were talks that they were basically in the talks of selling the club, selling their shares off, which every United fan would be basically crossing their fingers and hoping that this is the actual scenario, this is the actual case. So basically, for me, Glazers, it's either if they stay, they're going to bring in. I mean, they're going to please the current fans, okay, in bringing in world-class signings, for instance. But it's not going to basically help Manchester United at all, because they are still going to be around. They'll do it for one season or basically one transfer, and after that, it gets back to normal, which is basically stingy and last-minute panic buyings, and there's no passion of the owners towards the club. So what we are looking for, in a matter of fact, as fans, we are looking for owners who comes into the club, knows about football. That's very important, because the Glazers only know American football, most likely, not English football, yeah? Okay, and passionate about the team and always wanting to win, okay, and assisting the manager, the CEO or CFO as much as they could in daily operations, so that at the end of the day, the results of the team will be a success.
Good point. Very, very good point. Okay, just now we were talking about Jai mentioned the drama. The drama seems like there's more plot twists and stuff like this. So Florentino Perez actually came out and made a statement that this Super League is currently on hold. Okay, it's on hold. So it's not always on hold.
Yep.
Okay, so maybe Syed, your opinion. Do you think that there will be something like this coming up? Like there's a follow-up to this? And then as fans, what we can actually do, because there's already some, maybe you can share on the protests and whatnot, what we can actually do to prevent this from repeating or escalate to become an actual league.
Yeah, I mean, Perez, they didn't have a clue. Like they were not expecting the fans will protest at that level, because even like UK government was involved, all the media was involved, all the fans united, and they start protest against this praiser and this idea of Super League. So I think they didn't have the clue, like they will see that intensity of backlash. But I think, yes, as Perez said, he will come back. And I mean, right now, all of the teams are already out. Only Barcelona and Madrid are left. And I'm sure they are cooking something and they will come up with a different idea. But this time, I think they will prepare better than before. Because before they just come up with the idea, okay, all the owners together, we have this close league and we just start, we can do what we want. But this is not the right thing. They already know, they already learned that they cannot steal the football from the fans. They know the power of fans now, because, like even today, there was a protest outside Carrington training ground. And I heard one of the news, like Solskjaer, Darren Fletcher and Nemanja Matic, they spoke with the fans and they made them calm down, and then they left the field. So yeah, the fans are there. Even there is a big protest is going to happen outside Old Trafford, I think on Saturday, where the Twitter, it's trending, and it's Love United, Hate Glazer, LUHG. There's a community on Twitter, so they're gathering all the fans, and I think there will be a big turnout on Saturday. So the protests keep on going until the Glazers they eventually get out of our club. So the protest will keep going on, and I think Perez, they even one of the statement from him was he's saying he didn't explain the league in a better way. So now he's just like apologizing, or he's saying like I'm innocent, I have a better idea, maybe the fans didn't understand in a better way. So I'm sure they will come up with another idea. But now I think especially for the British clubs, because the UK government and all the ministers, they were involved in this. They want to save this heritage of football. It's 100-year-old. So I think with the UK clubs it will be harder, but maybe for other countries' clubs it will be easy for them to attack. At least like clubs like Juve and AC Milan and also Inter Milan. But I think to onboard English clubs again it would be hard. But I mean, we already know the criminal or the magical mind of Perez. The evil side of Perez. He will come up with another monetary benefit for the clubs to attract. But we have to wait and see until they come up with a different plan.
Okay, because now a lot of all these kind of movements, like you talk about the Carrington incident, and then the gathering and the protest this weekend and whatnot, it's happening in the UK. Okay, so for us, Malaysian fans, we are from the outside looking in, but we are as passionate as them. Okay, most of us also, we are aware of the history and the culture. So, Doc, what's your opinion? I mean, if for us as the outsiders, so to speak, how can we actually contribute, to this movement?
Yeah, I think anyway, thanks Syed for your comments, and also Dominic. I actually have a question. Was it really fan power that forced them to change their minds, right? And this is a controversial thing, because for me it seemed like it was a power struggle between, the people high up in football, UEFA, FIFA, and also the bigger clubs. Like everybody, there's a lot of money in football. Everybody wants to get the maximum piece of the pie. Now, even from the club's perspective, right? They were looking to get as much as they can, and now it's probably back to FIFA, UEFA again making the money, and probably for the bigger clubs it was a sort of a ploy to get more from FIFA and UEFA, right? So we don't know the backstory again, but as fans, and like you said, we are passionate, we want what's best for the club. I think you can see across social media, even in Malaysia, even in countries outside UK, right? Everyone was, really up in arms and things about, and I don't know if we made a difference, but I think, FIFA coming out with suspension for players for playing in this ESL, from playing for their countries, and those are the things that maybe, push players to actually make the move against the club. And that probably drove people like Harry Maguire, the current players, right? Luke Shaw, internationals who want to play for their country, right? And push them to go against the club. And a lot of things were still very much at a basic level, and that also could be one of the reasons why it fell apart, right? So we don't know the inside story, but again, it was at this point of time, what we see is something great for football, that we could actually hold back or push back the money man.
Okay, but then if with regards to us fans, okay, like maybe what we can actually do, instead of like holding protests and whatnot, maybe we can actually boycott the merchandise and whatnot, the dolls.
Hey, Colin is now taking a look at some dolls, I see.
No.
Looking up
I
the
have no dolls
prices and
behind
all.
me, Doc.
Danny is looking up the prices for Rooney doll and also,
No, but do you
I
think
reserve my
this will
comments
work?
on that.
You think this will work if just say we like stop buying merchandise or something like that? Will it work? Do you think will it like maybe how to say, like send a reminder to the owners or whatnot, or those people out there, or maybe we boycott certain games or we walk out during games? I mean, yeah, but we are from the outside lah. What's your opinion on that?
Me, is it?
Yeah, Doc.
Yeah, so I think, for example, they've done this before, boycott because of the Glazers coming in. It never worked, right? So there's only so much you can do, and eventually I think they will leave when they want to leave. Look at Woodward, for example. Everybody, the whole Manchester United fan base has been against him since he screwed up many of the transfer windows and things like that, right? But he's still been there because he's been backed by the Glazers. They want him there. He's their puppet, right? So there's certain amount of things we can do eventually, but how much of impact it actually makes on the decision or the final decision by the club is debatable. But I think when they know that the whole bunch of fans are up in arms, eventually they still have to please the fans. And like what Smurf said earlier, they might, bring in bigger signings and things like that to placate the fans as well. So I think they have some impact, but it may be limited in a sense.
Okay. As maybe some of y'all are aware, in the German league, they got this 51% and 49%. Okay, I'm not very well versed in this. Maybe Josh, you can care to share with everybody on this, and then whether it's possible to implement it for Man United.
Okay, so after this massacre of this fan 51%, 49% and things like that, right? So I did a small read up on how the German league was brought up, based on, of course, with heritage, culture, and all those, right, way of life and everything. So basically, just to give you an example, the German league have this 50+1 approach, all right, in terms of 51% of the whole share goes back to the fans. So how does it work? So basically, what happens is only 49% is available for commercial investment. So commercial investment, let's say you have like your Volkswagen, your Bayer, and all those things. So there were some exceptions. Like for example, I give Volkswagen, VfL Wolfsburg. So they were actually sponsoring this club for almost 20 over years, right? And back then, they actually brought up like they did up like a homestay or a factory for the Volkswagen workers. All right, so they have contributed to the society and also to the city. And then they appeal to say that, you know what, we want to continue supporting this team, this grassroots and the stadiums and the team and the club. And then they allow this exception for Wolfsburg to be commercially bought out by Volkswagen for more than 50%. Of course, there are some clauses which I may not know, but at the end of the day, it's go back to the society, goes back to whoever the people living in that area. So there is something. So if you ask me if there will be an opportunity like this to be in England, I would say it's hardly happened, because I think if we want to do something like that, we are looking at probably like an Aston Martin company, which is like a UK-based company to fund a football league in England. But looking at it, right, the football league in England, it's not a money-making league. So Germany have to accept the fact that they cannot make so much money. They have to make money enough to sustain, and they are agree and in terms with it. For England, if you see any company, even for American companies, UK companies, or they just want to make money, all right? So if you say that if there will be clubs doing like this, there will be commercial companies doing like this, I don't think so it will happen, all right? But we can get someone who can fund in the money, but get good staff to know about football. Because what I see now is that not many people can buy Manchester United. Okay, and if the people can buy Manchester United, they may not know football from A to Z and may not know the culture. I give it at 80-90%. You can only name a few. So what can happen is, like, for example, the Saudi Arabian consortium want to buy over. What they can do, because that is not their main source of income, the football club is not their main source of income, but they can get the best players, the best commercial people, the best staffing, the best management people to run the whole thing with an agreement to say that, okay, this will be your profits at the end of the day, or dividends or so forth. They must come into terms. And I think the Arabs will love it in that sense, right? So if things were to happen in England, I don't think so it will happen. Very, very small chance, but I hope there will be a big buyer coming for the Glazers. That's my only hope for now.
There are people. By the way, very, very, very good information. I'm educated on certain points of this football. I wasn't really aware of that also. So,
and also I want to add one thing. Like in Bundesliga, they reserve the number 12 shirt for the fans. So there are 18 clubs in Bundesliga. So only 2 clubs they have the 12 shirt for the players. Rest of the 16 clubs, including Bayern Munich and all, they don't have a shirt for a player with number 12. They reserve it for the fans. They they prioritize the fans most, Bundesliga.
Oh, you can actually
Yeah.
see that the German league, they actually appreciate the fans in a way. They really appreciate the fans.
Yeah.
Okay. So how about Jai? Sekarang ada banyak yang
Yeah.
keluar cakap nak beli MU yang Conor McGregor semua tu You rasa boleh ke dia jadi macam tu? Dia kickstart. Maybe dia boleh start satu macam tabung kan. Semua orang tong-tong sikit duit ke macam mana? Apa pendapat you?
Pendapat I tentang buyer-buyer yang nak beli Manchester United ni, macam McGregor, Saudi Arabia ataupun Glazer ada keluarkan statement yang dia nak jual. Ini semua hanya pada I lah. Pada secara jujurnya ini hanyalah cerita-cerita sahaja. Cerita-cerita untuk Super League and then ada cerita lagi timbulkan cerita-cerita yang ni. Ini hanya cerita-cerita sampingan, macam kabar-kabar angin saja. So secara logik dia kalau kita letak McGregor ke, mungkin McGregor ada cakap, tetapi mungkin dia cakap tapi dia tak buat. Sebab banyak faktor. Kalau contohlah macam kita pernah tengok Manchester City pernah kena beli sebelum ni kan. Banyak Chelsea pernah kena beli dengan Abramovich. Bukan cerita tu bukan cerita 1 hari atau 2 hari ataupun sebulan. Cerita tu panjang dan lama. Baru benda tu ceritanya betul. Contohlah macam kabar angin kita nak beli Haaland. Manchester United nak beli Haaland. Sejak daripada bila? Sejak daripada tahun lepas dan tahun-tahun sebelum ni. Tetapi cerita tu hanya cerita saja. Hanya kabar angin saja. Fact tu tak ada yang mengukuhkan benda tu, cerita tu. So pada I ini hanyalah salah satu daripada drama tadi.
Ini bukan plot twist lah,
Belum
belum
plot
lagi.
twist lagi. Tapi still in the drama episode tu. Itu secara pendapat I lah.
Okay, so since Man United, I mean with Woodward and Joel Glazer, right? We were pretty much the spearhead, apart from Perez, towards this movement of this Super League. So we are now pretty much considered as the bad club. Okay, so we are villain. On top of that, the other 5 big clubs, so to speak. So do you think it's fair for them to actually criticize us? Okay, and then maybe they are talking about punishing us and stuff like that. Colin, to you.
No, I think based on the punishment, it should be more directed to the owners or the CEO or the people who were involved in making this ESL coming up. Managers were not aware of it, put it that way. Players were clueless. Even the fans. As soon as the manager knew it is when we probably knew it. So for me, it's not fair to punish the fans of each and every club in the supposedly Big Six, because to be honest, I don't know how Tottenham and Arsenal got into the Big Six, in a matter of fact. Okay, but it's not fair to punish the fans, the players, and also the team. The entire team. Where the punishment should be directed directly to the owners or the people responsible for actually collaborating in this ESL supposedly new league for it, but it only lasted for 2 days so that's okay. But the punishment should definitely be directed only to the people who are involved, not punish the entire club for it.
So they were talking about there's this contract. So apparently that
binding contract, yes.
Yeah, binding contract for don't know how many years. Then so now that since the team are out of it, apparently they are going to get fined 8 million or something like that. This site, just to check with you, this one will be paid by United, is it? Or will it be directly out of the Glazers' pocket or whatnot? You got any idea of that?
Okay. Yeah. So there are basically 3 things. One is Premier League, which is FA. One is UEFA, and one is Super League. So all those 12 clubs, they signed with Super League. But there was a statement from Perez. He said he's not going to give any sanction or any penalty to the clubs. So we don't have to pay to Super League anymore. Now there is Premier League, which is FA, and then there is UEFA, which is the European Union. So UEFA wants to charge all those 12 clubs who participated in the beginning. But FA is saying that they would not charge the club as a whole. They will only charge personnel who was involved in this decision, which is Woodward in our club. So FA is more saving the clubs. FA is targeting the persons, but UEFA is targeting the clubs. But for UEFA Super League, we are safe. We don't have to pay because Perez said like there will be no sanction to the clubs who opt out.
Oh, then this is good. That means we can save $8 million. So Doc, 142 more million for Haaland. So we
No, but
better
what
buy
I
Haaland now to please the fans.
yeah, Colin, you got something to say, Colin?
Yeah, no, but what I just, I mean, I just came across an article earlier. It says that Perez has said that it's a binding contract and it's not as easy as ABC to actually walk out from the contract. So, I mean, like what you mentioned earlier, there might be a little plot twist to this in the coming days, in the coming future. And I'm sure that Perez is not going to leave this all alone. He's definitely going to come after, I mean, he's going to start a plan B or, yeah, I mean, it might just be a matter of time before he kickstarts something new all over again, because he is currently holding these 12 clubs to, I mean, including his Madrid, to a binding contract. So, and he has clearly stated that it's not as easy as ABC to walk out from a binded contract.
True.
So I think the 8 million might I mean, it might just be it might not be true or what, nobody knows, you know. I mean, we do not know what's actually really happening behind the scenes. It's as good as as good as when we only knew that ESL was suddenly developed and died in the next 48 hours.
I just want to
I
add
think,
also,
go ahead,
sorry. So I just want to add, like, in terms of the fines and sanctions and all, right, I hope that perhaps UEFA and FA come to agreement to actually not to penalize the club, like minus points or go to another league and all those, because I think it's only fair because they do not do anything, right? But as much as I don't want this to happen, but they have to penalize in financial terms. Like, if you, whatever standings you are, you're supposed to get a certain amount of money, you are cut off 50% or don't even get at all, just to actually hurt these owners. Because I think financially, if you hurt these owners, trust me, there will be buyers outside who wants to buy these clubs already, right? When the value is right, there will be buyers coming in. So I hope there will be a financial impact for these owners directly, okay, for like balance sheets, so that when that comes in, like you get like 20 million fine or 30 million fine, even up to 100 million, which doesn't directly relate to fans. But if they really can't do this, right, they can't come up with the money, they have to sell the club. And if they sell the club, that's where it opens up.
One question, because I'm a bit worried when you talk about this, right? What if that money that is supposed to buy players, right, would be used to pay all these kind of fines and stuff like that? Wouldn't you be worried?
Correct, but yeah, I'll be worried only for one season. Because if the club goes, the money goes out from one season, and the Glazers decide to sell, I mean, in long-term wise, we could have another new owners coming in, because ultimately these owners want to make money, and if the impact is so high on losing money, they immediately thinking, hey, you know what? I think I better minimize my damage, in that sense. I hope that is the way that FIFA and FA might think, to actually try to hurt these owners as much so that this doesn't happen again. And it's also an indication and a message to all the other clubs in the world that if this happen again, it can be a very critical damage.
Good point.
Yeah, I think there should be punishment to those owners, and also it's like a compensation for the rest of the 14 teams because they were left out.
Yep.
So there should be a punishment to the club who involved.
The owners, not the club. The owners and the people behind the scenes here.
The owners.
Don't punish the players, the clubs, the financial status of the club. No, it should directly come in from the owner's pocket, or from the, like I mentioned, the people who were involved in it.
No, again, it comes down to one thing: money, right? It comes down to UEFA looking for money. Comes down to the Premier League looking for money. It comes down to the ex-ESL looking for money. I think another side story that did come up while all this ESL was going on, right, was actually a finger pointed at UEFA, where they've come up so strongly against the ESL, but where other things like racism and even the FFP and all are being flouted on daily basis, and nothing is being done. So again, it falls back to why they went after the ESL was because of money, and it's going to affect the amount of income that they are going to get, right? So there are bigger issues out there which are also not being handled by UEFA. Doesn't put them in good light either.
Okay.
They felt threatened by the losing the money, the revenues.
Yeah, definitely. And I also want to, I think, just add on to what Colin had said earlier. We talk about Glazers out and, looking at new owners coming in. We also need to be a bit careful, right? Who comes in? I think this time we really need to be very careful. Sometimes it can be a double-edged sword, right? Even if you say a guy who's really passionate about football or thinks he's passionate about football, somebody like Roman can actually, try to have his hand in each of the signings and how the team plays. And sometimes that can also be detrimental. To a certain extent, the Glazers, yes, they put in money. Sometimes they didn't give money, but they left those aspects alone.
You were
Right?
passive.
So that is also another interesting portion that, we need to be careful who comes in and what they actually want from the club.
True. Okay, let's move on. Let's talk about the apology from the owners. Okay, so basically the first to actually come up with the apology, as I'm aware of, is John Henry. Is this John Henry, the Liverpool owner? A video apology, and then after that it was I think Kroenke and stuff. I think Glazer was the last to actually issue an apology, and then again that one wasn't a video apology; it was just a written text. Okay, so
Unsincere lah.
not sincere. Jai, pada pendapat you kan,
Unsincere.
benda macam ni yang boleh settle ke macam tu, dia tulis surat macam tu?
Oh, kalau ikutkan dari segi prestige club kita, Manchester United, dia tidak dapat mengembalikan rasa tak puas hati peminat-peminat, especially MU lah, Manchester United, dengan cara begitu. Itu bukan caranya. Sekurang-kurangnya dia kena, tapi Glazer punya perangai daripada dulu sampai sekarang memang tak akan berubah, kecuali Smurf minta dia keluar, Glazer out. So kena, sebab apa pun dia buat, dia tidak boleh membuatkan kita rasa kembali, rasa kembali baik, rasa kembali suka dengan Glazer punya cara. So even apa-apa pun dia buat sekarang ni, still tak akan mengubah apa-apa pun, kecuali
kalau saya Glazer,
okay,
I Glazer, I bagi tahu you, okay Jai, kalau I jual Fred, I jual McTominay, I jual siapa
What?
lagi? Jap. Wait, chill.
What McTominay sell?
I'm role playing a bit. I'm role playing. I role play.
Okay.
I don't role play with dolls. I role play with people. Kalau saya Glazer, I cakap I jual Fred, McTominay. Siapa lagi you nak jual lagi ya? Okay, dua orang ni
I sold half the team, dude.
I jual De Gea. I beli Declan Rice. I beli Grealish. Okay, I beli Haaland. So you puas ke tak puas? You happy ke tak happy?
Actually the part of cerita pasal player untuk dijual itu cerita lain. The part of cerita dia is a cerita lain. Jadi sekarang Glazer still, kita buat macam mana pun, you cakap dengan I macam mana pun, yang bercakap dengan I Glazer, I takkan suka punya. Sebab you kena keluar daripada club. Itu saja.
So
Glazer out.
Walaupun dia bagi
Glazer
you
out.
player macam Haaland, Mbappe semua datang tu, you pun tak nak ah.
No, I tak suka you. I tak suka Glazer. Bukan sebab I tak suka player. I tak suka Glazer.
Dia sudah pecah hati Jai.
Hati I dah tak boleh dah dengan you. Tak boleh get long. Tak boleh tidur satu tilam ah. So tak boleh. Please.
Acak
Glazer,
saja. Relax.
I pun tengah roll.
Okay.
I mean, eventually, right, Dom, they're all businessmen lah. If you look at all the big 6 clubs that they're from the UK and Premier League, they wanted to pull out, they're all businessmen. Okay, whether they did it for greed, whether they did it for whether they thought this could make extra money for the club, we don't know. But eventually, I mean, everybody makes mistakes, and if it's a genuine apology, I think the fans will accept, even though it may take some time, because some of us are really disappointed. We felt like let down by the people in charge, right? It will take time, but I think eventually your love for the club will take over lah. That is my point of view. I mean, because we love the club, we want the club to do well and things like that, right? Eventually your love for the club will take over your emotional part, for me, at least. Colin looks like he's going to eat me, but yeah.
He's shaking in his chair, already. But then
I mean,
actually,
whatever the case is, Glazers got to leave the club. I mean, even with the apology of the letter, it was utter rubbish. I mean, people came out with video. You come out with the letter, hide behind the desk. I mean, you hide at home and basically get your secretary or your PR agency to write a letter on behalf of you. I think this is totally unacceptable, number one, and it's rubbish. It's rubbish. I don't accept it as a fan, and I'm sure that many other fans out there would stand behind me on this matter. Okay, if he was, I mean, even though if he was sincere, put it that way, as a fan, you have basically destroyed us. I mean, you have destroyed football, almost destroyed football. You have
backstab.
almost destroyed us, almost took away our history from us. And yeah, you are basically, you should just leave and get out of the club, not stay there. And why do you have to write an apology letter at the end of the day? Think about that. Why did he do that? It was because he knew he was basically cornered. He was in a fault. He was cornered, and he had nothing else to do. And following the other owners of other clubs who basically did videos and so on, so he just had to do it. If he had a choice, I can guarantee he would not have done it, because he is that idiotic to me.
If he wants to want that a bit respect from us, ask him to resign and walk away and say bye bye.
No, that's the best thing he can do, basically.
That's the best small
That's
thing.
the
he can
best
do,
thing he can actually do at this current moment. He know he screwed up big time with the ESL putting his name in it and so on. The best thing, the best apology every Manchester United fan can accept is for him to tender his resignation, sell off his shares and walk off, stay home in the United States of America. Don't come to England.
He gave you the
Bye-bye,
second best.
bye-bye.
He kicked out Ed Woodward.
No, but at the end of the day, yeah, he kicked out Ed Woodward. But I mean, he might bring in somebody else as a CEO.
Yes.
I mean, we
Yes,
hope
yes,
it's going to be
yes,
Van der Sar or somebody with a United blood, passionate enough for the game and basically always supporting the team. But he's definitely going to bring in a puppet of his if he's
Yes.
still going to be around, and it's going to be the same cycle all over again. 15 years going to repeat in once again, another cycle of 15 more years. So to get this out, I mean to get this off, we have to get Glazers off the club. Sell his shares. Goodbye, bye bye. Don't come to England.
Okay, we're running out of time. Okay, just a quick one. Okay, Saeed, who is would you think a potential candidate to be the next CEO of Manchester United?
So there are two popular choices. One is to bring back David Gill, who was the ex-chairman, but David Gill is associated with UEFA, and there was another news that he was voted by the board of UEFA to stay for 4 more years. So I think David Gill would be kind of impossible to resign from UEFA and come back to United. The second option would be our own beloved Edwin van der Sar, who is associated with Ajax. So his CV is good. He has already 5 years of experience as a chairman or the big head of Ajax Football Club. We already know how he handled the club. Him and Mark Overmars, they both promoted youth, including Van de Beek, and also De Jong, and also all those youth players. So he know how the football club works. He knows what requires to work for a Manchester United. I mean, we all know he's a hero for us. He saved the penalty in Moscow in 2008. So that would be a favorite choice. But there was another news that there's a safest option, which is the current managing director, whose name is Richard Arnold. So he's also being named as to overtake the position of Woodward, because this guy, Richard Arnold, he has the commercial experience of the club, and he's already employed working in United. So maybe he will be promoted to as a CEO or as a vice chairman for the
You
club.
forgot one important guy, Gary Neville.
Gary, no, no.
And then so
You can't be as bad as his managerial record, right?
He better stay in Sky Sports.
Yeah.
even like fans are tweeting about Patrice Evra or Rio Ferdinand to
No.
take over
We
this
shouldn't.
position.
We should get somebody
Yeah.
who actually has a good CV.
Experience.
We shouldn't just
Knowledgeable, yes.
yeah, no romance and whatnot. Okay, so guys, we are actually at the
David.
end of our show. So thanks so much for joining us. For those new to our channel, please like, subscribe, share our videos. Okay, JomUnited, Glazers out. Okay,
Glazers out, guys. Glazers out.
Out, man.
Bye,
Get out
bye.
from the club.
Out the door.
Get out, out,
Yeah.
Out the door.
Keluar. Okay, I'll see you guys. Take care, everybody.
All right, guys.
Bye.
Take care.
Bye-bye.